Hey y'all, it's Megan. Welcome back to the channel. Glad y'all are here today. Guess what, y'all? It is a lovely rainy day today. So, got a busy day in the kitchen. It's going to be a perfect day for all things canning. Me and Andy got a lot of the stuff picked before it got wet. And we're just going to enjoy the rainy day, y'all. We have been needing rain for so long. And it's amazing how a little bit of rain will just lift your spirits. But can you guess what we've been doing this morning? We've been shelling our purple hull peas. And so I'm going to get those started in the canner. Got to get the October beans shelled. Planning on making a little more salsa today. So I hope y'all enjoy today's video. It's going to be a busy one. So I've got me a good bowl full of these pink-eyed purple hull peas. We absolutely love these. We've been planting them the last couple years. Ever since we tried them, this is the pea that we like to plant. So this was about a 5-gallon bucket full of unshelled peas, and you see what I've got here. My canner holds 10 pints. I don't think I'm going to get 10 pints out of this, but we'll see. When I'm doing peas, and more so actually with the October beans, which hopefully y'all see here soon, I don't fill the jar up all the way to the top because beans swell when they cook, and they'll push all your water out. You don't watch. So I'll do that about like that there. So not quite to that first ring. Now these peas, you don't have to can them. You can let them dry on the vine and store them as dried beans. It's just super convenient to already have them cooked and canned. It makes a very, very quick, easy, delicious meal. I know some people also like to freeze them. My neighbor up the road here, she said she prefers them better frozen. Of course, you get the more fresh taste when you blanch them and freeze them. But me and Andy really enjoy them canned, so I just can all mine. Jacob and Maggie this morning are in our little sunroom enjoying the rainy day, playing some Monopoly. They love Monopoly. Well, I'm going to have a few more jars than I thought I would. I thought I'd have about 5, and I've got 6 so far. I don't think that'll be enough for another jar. That may be supper tonight. I'll fix a few of them, and I may have a few leftover October beans, and that'll be good. Let's add us a half a teaspoon of salt to these. I do use the Redmond's real salt because it's a plain salt. You can use plain salt or cannon salt. Just as long as it's not iodized, you're good. I reckon that's how you say it, iodized. Now we're going to fill them up with water, hot water, up to the first ring there. Time for our lids and rings. Where we're pressure canning, I'm just putting these rings on till the jar starts turning itself, like that. Don't want to put them on too tight. And these are the 4 jars canning lids. I've used them the last 2 years and have been more than pleased with them. I bought some back at Homesteaders of America a couple years ago. And that's all I've used since. So if you're interested in trying them, got a discount code down in the description for you. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and cut my heat on high. I put warm jars into warm water. If the water was cold, I'd do cold jars into cold water, hot jars into hot water. You just stand less of a chance of busting a jar that way. So I'm going to grab my ball book of preserving, and we're going to see how long we need to can these for. If you are new to canning, or even if you're not new and you don't have this book right here, man, I highly suggest it, because I don't know if you can tell from the video, but this thing is very, very well used. And it tells you how to freeze stuff, how to dehydrate stuff, how to can stuff, different recipes. And a lot of the recipes I've tried, and most are pretty good. The only one that I didn't much like was the salsa. But other than that, a lot of the other ones I've tried have been very good. And it even gives you step-by-step in the beginning, like how to use a pressure canner, how to water bath, you know, safely. So, I don't know. I think it's a must-have in the kitchen. Process pint jars at 10 pounds of pressure for 40 minutes. All right, that's what we'll do. Well, the rain's let up for just a little bit, so I'm going to run out here and grab me some peppers while it ain't raining so I can make me another batch of salsa. That salsa y'all seen me make in one of the last videos, it was Jacob approved, so that means a whole lot right there. But it was very good. So I'm going to use that same recipe and make another batch, because it only made 4 pints what I made the other day. I think I've got some peppers out here I can pick. We'll see. These pepper plants are like crazy massive. These banana peppers ain't quite ready to pick, but I'm gonna pick them anyway. I'm gonna grab some jalapenos. Boy, them things is hiding up in there. I need some more sweet peppers. Let me wander around and see what I can find. Go check the pots. I've about got enough. I believe that'll do for my salsa today. chopped up for our salsa. So now we're going to need 6 teaspoons of salt and a cup of vinegar. And what I'm going to do is last time I let it cook about 45 minutes and it turned out real good as far as the texture and everything goes. So that's what I'm going to shoot for again this time. My canner also just finished up, so I'm going to let it sit here and cool off. And we'll see what our peas look like. My peas are good and cool, so let's see what they look like. They look fabulous. So you can see where I didn't fill the jar up all the way, the beans still drank the water, but the beans are still covered in water. Salsa is good and done. I actually let it cook about an hour this time. Must have had a little more water in it than last time, but that's the texture I'm looking for. It's looking good. Let's get this in some jars. I'll be interested to see if I actually get 4 jars again this time too, since I had to let it cook a little bit longer. We'll see. Well, now ain't that something? Perfect. Now ain't that just plumb pretty? So again, that recipe made 4 pints, just like last time. Last time I did have a little bit left over that I was able to put in a bowl, so it did cook down a little bit more. What's so funny to me is, exact same recipe, San Marzano tomatoes, and this is more orange. Maybe I had more really ripe tomatoes in this, making it more red. I don't know. Well, we got all them October beans shelled, so it looks like I'm probably going to have a canner and a half, something like that, for the October beans. Something I do want to show y'all, though. These beans, which I've just learned from experience, they swell a lot in the canner. So I only fill my jars just a hair over half full. And I know they don't look like a lot, but once I get them out of the canner, you'll see why. I mean, they'll fill the rest of that right there up. And I'll go ahead and put the water up to that first ring so the beans will have some water to drink. But they swell quite a bit. So if you put them, to that first ring, the beans, it's fine. I have had issues, though, with jars not sealing because the beans are, like, pushing against the top of the jar. Also, they're bad to, like, push out water. So you may, like, get them out of the canner and they're only half full of water, which still happens sometimes doing it this way, too. It's just the nature of the beast, and if they do that, they are still perfectly fine to eat. They just don't look quite as pretty. So each quart gets a teaspoon of salt. All right, I'm gonna see how long we need to can these for. Break out my handy dandy book again. So these are pretty big beans. There's nothing in this book for, you know, this variety of bean, which is fine. So I'm gonna look for a big bean that they do have something listed for. So in here they have lima or butter beans and how to can those. And that's what I'm gonna go off of, because those are big beans, these are big beans. So it should be the same time. And it says for quart jars, 10 pounds for 50 minutes. Perfect. That's what we'll do. So now I'm making just a little bit of grape juice, hopefully for Maggie to have with her supper. I may drink some too, just depending on how much we have. But it's very simple. I just washed a few grapes, put them in a pot, covered them in water, and I'm letting them simmer a little bit. Now I'm going to take my tater masher and just mash them. They're pretty soft as it is, so it ain't going to be much mashing to them. I'll give it a taste. If I feel like it needs a little sweetener, I'll put a little honey in there, but a lot of times you don't have to put anything. I'm just going to strain our grape juice into the jar here. These are not seedless grapes, so there's definitely seeds in there. I tasted it and it was a little sour, so I did add a little bit of honey to it. So I got almost a quart of juice. That's still pretty warm, so I'm going to let that cool off and set it in the fridge, and hopefully Maggie can have her some for supper tonight. So in amongst the canning chaos, I did throw together a little supper, so I'm going to show y'all what we're going to have tonight. We're going to have some chicken, buttered toast with some homemade jelly, October beans, and a few pink-eyed peas, those ones you saw that were left over. Of course, got my little piece of pork in there. Those leftover cheesy potatoes you saw me make the other day, and some of our homegrown bacon. Well, it's very simple. I utilize leftovers. I wanted to do the chicken because I can throw the chicken in the oven and just let it be, and it's out of my way. The beans were the biggest thing, and I just set them back there on that back burner, let them go, because they take a while. So it was very simple, and, you know, I just threw it together like I do. The October beans, my little knob here has dropped. So now what I'll do is I'll take this off, and I'll still let that cool at least another 10 minutes. Seems to help them not siphon quite as bad if I do that. And then I'll get them out and we'll see what they look like. All right, let's see how our October beans turned out. All right, they look fabulous. Now, I hope y'all can see there, and I'll show you better up close. So the beans definitely swelled, but all my beans are still going to be in liquid. So that's why I put so few in each jar. So see there? And those that are floating, they'll settle down when those cool off. But I'm tickled with how those turned out. They look real good. Well, guys, I guess that about wraps up today's video. I'm going to run the rest of these October beans in the canner, and I'll be done for today anyway. But anyways, guys, I hope you really enjoyed today's video. Hope you might have learned a little something, and until we see y'all on the next one, y'all have a good one.